All right, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from Joburg. Good morning and welcome back to the opening bell with myself, Tshepo and Ashley. And this is brought to you by TD Markets and TD Markets Academy every Mondays to Fridays at 9, streaming live on YouTube. I hope everyone is doing well this morning. All right, so we're going to jump straight into it. We're going to do some updates. There's a lot of charts we've been talking about, we've been looking at. So in today's session, we're going to do some updates on those charts, right? Maybe some of you guys are holding positions. So we're just going to show you or give you guys our point of view on where the market could do next or what it could do next. All right. So let's jump straight into it. Now, first things first, this week has been an important week. All right. This week has been an important week because the dollar has been the major talking point considering the factors driving its weakness. All right. So the factors that are driving the dollar's weakness at the moment is foreign policy moves. Right, foreign policy moves. I mean, you guys have been previewed to the Venezuela crisis, the Greenland tariffs, and so forth and so on. So, this persistent foreign policy moves has rattled investors, right? And also, you've got concerns over the Fed's independence and future policy, as well as capital outflows as investors are shifting from US assets to emerging markets and commodities. That's why you've got emerging markets that are stronger than the dollar at the moment. That's why you've got commodities that is just flying. You look at gold right now, gold is flying, all right? However, on the flip side, this dollar weakness, right? The POTUS, the president of the US, Donald Trump, has repeatedly brushed off concerns about the dollar's decline, calling it great for US exporters, right? So I remember there was one of the journalists asked Donald Trump if he has any concerns of the decline of the dollar, right? And then he said he's not really concerned about it because it is great for US exporters. So that is maybe something we can say on the flip side, okay, maybe he saw what we didn't see. However, the reality is investors are shifting away from the dollar and they are now looking at emerging markets, right? These factors I spoke about right now that are causing the dollar weakness, right, is a problem. And so commodities are flying, oil is flying, right? I mean, oil, we know the reasons why oil price has been pushing up, right? And this also is as a result of these weaknesses as well. So that is basically, in a nutshell, what has been happening. We also have the U.S. interest rates that were announced yesterday. All right, I'm sure you guys kept an eye on that. So the U.S. interest rates, the rates, were kept the same at 3.75. So there was no cut. A lot of investors, and I think the rumor was that there's going to be cuts. All right. In fact, this year, it's cutting season this year, but I think they felt the need just to pause. Also, looking at the previous data, the previous inflation data, the previous NFP data, it didn't, come out so great, right? So this is why the Fed decided to pause and then to keep an eye on the data because they are data dependent. All right. So that is fundamentally what has been happening, just in a nutshell, right? Of course, we will dive deeper into this later on at 2 p.m. on the trading room, right? Our trading room today is a Thursday at 2 p.m. We'll dive deep into it. Now, going to the charts, all right? We've got gold, we've got Bitcoin, we've got US oil, and then we've got NASDAQ, right? So no currencies this morning, just the commodities, crypto, as well as indices. Starting with US oil, we spoke about US oil going up, right? We spoke about US oil going back to this high, right? And now it went back to that high. In fact, from these areas, we spoke about it going back to that high. And then also when the market corrected, we spoke about it pushing back to that high. So it has broken that high. Where is this going now? It's going back to 65.6 dollars per barrel. And that is basically the previous high. All right. So US oil we just continue the momentum. We just continue in the direction of the current momentum. As you guys can see, the trend is extremely bullish as well, right? So there we go. That is the update on this. And then you've got Nasdaq. Nasdaq, we spoke about Nasdaq going up, breaking the structure and then going up. In fact, there was a retest here, right? There was a slight retest on this one. There was a slight retest, not a major one on this one, right? The market came back for the retest, now is pushing towards the upside. All right. So Nasdaq is going back to that high. It's going back to that. It's almost there. It's almost there, right? It's going back to that high. So that's an update on Nasdaq. And then you've got Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin, the last time we spoke about this, we said we're anticipating a correction and then a continuation towards the downside, right? That is what we anticipate Bitcoin will do. And there is what looks like a retracement, not a retracement, there is a rejection right there on that daily candle, right? It's a shooting star. And now this is the current daily candle. So should this candle close bearish, then we are anticipating price to fall for the rest of the week, right? For the remainder of the week, we're anticipating a drop. All right. So that's an update on Bitcoin. And last but not least, right, gold. Many of you guys have been keeping an eye on gold. And the last time I spoke about gold, I said it's going back to 5,200. If it breaks 5,200, sorry, yeah, if it breaks 5,200, we are looking at 5,500. So look at where gold is right now, right? 5,500. It broke above 5,500. So this is what we're seeing. This is what we're seeing at the moment on gold, right? So from here on, gold can easily continue pushing up. I don't think it's a good idea to sell gold. It's a good idea to buy gold, all right, because of its current momentum. So that's basically what's been happening, guys. You will notice if you've been watching the previous opening bells, the previous trading rooms, you will notice that I spoke about this direction sometime last year, right? I spoke about gold, continue the momentum towards the upside, Nasdaq going up, the dollar getting weak. We spoke about those things. So we're sticking to the same script. We're sticking to the same script. There are no changes from a technical point of view. So we stick to the same script. Gold, we're going up. Silver, we're going up. The commodities, the indices, we're going up. Nasdaq, we're going up. S&P 500, we're going up. All right. And obviously, we're looking at dollar weakness and emerging markets profiting from the dollar weakness. All right. So that's it, guys. These are the fundamentals and the technicals here this morning. Hope you guys have been capitalizing on these movements. Let's see what's going to happen later on at 2 as we going to gear up for the trading room. All right. But in terms of the direction, we're not changing anything. All right. So that's it from us, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Good luck. We will catch you back again on the next opening bell session. Cheers, everyone.